Hello, I'm Max Bettendorf here in the lobby of the Student Experience Center, joined with the lead coordinators at SORCE, is right?
Correct.
Right, and we've got Leah and Emmanuel, and you guys are leading that whole initiative, right?
Absolutely.
It's the Student Leadership and Involvement. Well, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about what that's
Okay.
like.
So SORCE is pretty much a student organization's resources for community engagement, and it's an acronym. And it's a funding mechanism of the Student Leadership and Involvement Department at Oregon State University. What we do is pretty much fund clubs and organizations on campus who need funding, and we assist them in any way we can, even with organizing their events and not just with funding them.
Wow, that's really impressive. That's really great. All right, so what would you want students to know about SORCE? What is the main thing that you want to put out there so that students can learn more about what you guys do and how you help the school? So generalized, what do you want students to know?
Okay, so first of all, I want students to know about SORCE because it's free money that they can access, and also because students pay this money through their student incidental fees. They pay about $400 or more every term, and SORCE gets pretty much in its funds about $2.07 of that $400 that each student pays. So it's a good opportunity for them to get it back in some way, to become engaged in the community, and absolutely, SORCE is an important program that people should know about, and it should increase, of course, with time.
That's really impressive. So Leah, I wanted to ask you, what kind of activities does SORCE actually fund?
So SORCE funds a lot of activities. Some that are most seen by a lot of the students are the cultural events here on campus, but they also fund informational events for an organization or educational, recreational, and also social activities held on campus in Corvallis. Along with that, we also fund org development, which includes developing your leaders and your members, and also we are doing something new, kind of. We're funding operational costs, so t-shirts, pens, anything that really makes your organization more visible on campus.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really impressive. So what actually, I'm going to step off the script for just one second. I'm just asking you both personally, what is the reason that you guys got involved in SLI and SORCE? Like, I mean, it's not so prominently known as well as, you know, I don't know, many other organizations. So what drew you guys in to join this community, this committee?
Well, okay, I'll go first. Last year I was a peer advisor for SLI.
Wow.
So peer advising, we work closely with SORCE because SORCE would be the funding, and then us as peer advisors would help these organizations really plan their events and execute them. And so this year, because I have a business minor, I decided to do something with a little more money orientated. So I joined the SORCE team.
There you go. That'll do it. What about you, Emmanuel?
And for me, I got a chance to work here the first year. I didn't really know much about what I was getting into, but this year I liked it very much, so I just applied again and I got the job again. And I love it because I get involved to all the events and all the activities on campus, and I get to know a lot of people, and I get to just experience new things.
Right. You got to do something to keep your head from going crazy from all the college work, of course. So what organizations have been funded in the past by SORCE? I mean, you guys have done so much work on campus, so many different organizations and people, but what organizations specifically have you guys funded?
So I can list you some of them. We have organizations from all 19 categories of organizations, which are pretty much social, academic, professional, all these categories, cultural. And to list you some, we have the APASU, the Asian Pacific Student Union, Omega Delta Phi, which is a fraternity, Socratic Club, the Rainbow Continuum, Chinese Student Association, Taiwanese Student Association, Vietnamese Student Association, Turkish Student Association.
That's a lot.
Just a lot of organizations on campus.
That's incredible.
Yep, and we hope to increase, of course, the numbers of these organizations in the future.
Right, and each of these organizations, they apply to be funded, right?
Correct.
And so it takes a lot of work to apply, right? How difficult would you say that it is to apply for these funds?
It's actually pretty easy.
Oh, really?
I have a few steps here that I can go through.
All right, please, tell me everything.
Okay, so the first step is to really identify a funding need, and then develop a budget and an activity plan. The next step is to report the activity through the Student Organization Activities Reporting Tool, which is online. And the third step is to request funding to SORCE from using that reporting tool.
Right.
And then step 4 is to meet with one of us and kind of go through your request. Step 5 is to provide a 10-minute, which is really short, presentation to the allocation team, which meets every week. And the 6th step is the last one. And so this is after the event. We ask that you submit an activity assessment and also a budget reconciliation.
Wow.
Yeah. So it seems like a lot. But
There's a
it's
couple
actually not
steps,
that
but
much.
realistically, it isn't too difficult to apply.
Yeah.
So if you were to say, who should be the people that are applying for your funds out of SORCE?
So, of course, the officers in charge of funding the financial resources for the
Right.
club. But I encourage all the clubs to apply for funding, since it's the money of the students that should return back to the students.
Of course.
And our goal this year is to reach 25% of all recognized student organizations. And that number is 400 organizations on campus, and we hope to reach at least 100 of them, since it's very hard to get the word out, you know?
Yeah,
But that's
no,
our goal
always
for
is.
the year.
Always is. That's what we're here for. That's what
Absolutely.
we get that word out.
Yeah.
So you guys have been a part of this for a couple of years. You guys have been in and out. You've now taken leadership positions. Do you see, what do you see as a success for your group, for SORCE, going along into the future? With you guys as new officers, is this your first year taking on these roles?
No, for me it's my second year.
That's right. That's your second year.
For her is the.
So you've seen progression throughout the year.
Correct.
Where do you see the future of this going?
I see the future for me is when multiple clubs join to make a single event, collaboration among clubs to make just the program more known and among other clubs as well.
Absolutely.
And of course, word of mouth always works, so it's good for us to engage in more activities.
True, true. And you've had collaborations in the past, right?
Correct.
So what kind of collaborations might we have seen out of SORCE as far as like with other clubs? I mean, here we're having a nice collaboration with Orange Media Network, very nice. But in the past you've had other ones. What are those like?
For example, we've had HUYOI, which we had like a lot of volunteers from other clubs joining into the event. There were hundreds of volunteers in that event only. And other clubs have been other individuals have been having the idea of opening clubs because they know that they have the funding available, because that's one of the main obstacles for clubs to open one. So for example,
money's always a big problem.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So one last question I would like to ask you guys. How do people become more involved in SORCE? Well, how do people go to apply to be a part of this, to what you guys are handling now?
Do you mean to apply for funding, or how to become like a SORCE coordinator?
To become a SORCE coordinator, yeah.
Well, it's actually pretty easy. We usually hire every spring for the next year.
Right.
And they'll post it on Beaver Jobs, along with there's usually posters within this building that says SLI is hiring. And SLI has many positions within it, and SORCE is just 2 of them. So you apply online, you need a resume, I believe a cover letter, essay.
Right. So I lied. One more question. I'm sorry. I wanted to ask one last. How can student organizations learn more about SORCE?
They could go on our website, which is sli.oregonstate.edu/source. We just updated a new policy, which will be active from today, if I'm not wrong. There is a lot of new criteria, a lot of new information that they can just read. And you can simply apply online without having to even come into the office. And everything is on the website. And of course, all organizations are eligible to apply, so it's just very easy.
Great, very easy, nice.
Very easy.
Well, that was
everyone's welcome to come up to our office.
right. And where's your office located?
The 3rd floor of SCC 306.
This very building. How nice. Yeah, they run it all. Well, I'm very happy you guys had a chance to sit down here with me and all of us here at O&M, and I'd love to see what else comes out of SORCE. It's been a great sitting down with both of you, Leah and Emmanuel, and we'll send it back up. Take it away.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun.